Hello, happy Sunday, and welcome to the first episode of Rebirth Sundays, where I, Hank, Rebirth Coach, will be going over the connections between spirituality and self, spiritual awakenings and ascensions, and anything that involves life coaching of self. I am a life coach, and I am currently in the process of becoming certified with the International Coaching Federation. And between those two things, I want to bring a more grounded and understanding approach to spirituality as best as I can. Spirituality is such a broad and amazing and beautiful experience and term, so can't really put it down to just like one or two things. For today's episode, I'm going to be discussing the connection and importance of self and spirituality. Now, as a spirituality coach that helps out with people's spiritual awakenings and spiritual ascensions, the most important thing that I have to go over and talk with my clients about is how important it is that you have to do the work. No one else can do it, and that's why having a strong sense of self is so important to continuing yourself, and if you are starting your first spiritual awakening and even continuing on to your spiritual ascensions, which is what I truly believe that happens when after you've had a spiritual awakening. I think that people have one primary spiritual awakening, and then everything after that is just more ascensions, but I mean, they can also be technically awakenings. So going back onto today's topic, the connection between self and spirituality. Spirit is your connection with grand consciousness. That is part of, having a soul and being in this body. The soul is not what's inside. Our soul is basically the aura that surrounds us. So having a strong sense of self is, once again, super, super imperative in order to continue on this journey and get to the places that you need to get to, especially if you've already been called from spirit, from higher grand consciousness, from God, to go ahead and learn these esoteric thoughts, and it's really important. It's really, really important to understand how, or should I say, to ground yourself in yourself. And by that I mean, if you do not have self-confidence, if you do not have at least a little bit of self-love, or if you don't have a grounded self-esteem of yourself, then you'll never be able to get to the next point into life, because spirituality happens within. It doesn't happen outside. It doesn't happen, your neighbor isn't going to be able to help you out necessarily spiritually. The beautiful thing is we have a lot of many amazing teachers, especially on the Mystical Illuminations channel here, and Peace Dealer, the great Archangel Michael. Then we have Dolo, Archangel Uriel. We have all these spiritual teachers, and all the things that they're teaching us are facts, but they're also still concepts. And it's up to us to have that confidence in ourselves, to grasp that knowledge and that wisdom and that information and translate it within ourselves to process what's going on within ourselves. Everyone who is meant to wake up has a very unique gift within themselves. And in order to get to that gift, you have to do the work, whether that be through shadow work or soul retrieval techniques, inner child work. There's so many different things that you have to do and that you'll have to understand and grasp in order to get to that point. And without a strong sense of self, you'll just end up getting stuck. Or if in some cases you can end up losing more fragments of your soul. If you don't know what soul loss is, I'll briefly touch on it. And basically, soul loss is what happens when certain situations, experiences come in, and it's very similar to trauma and traumatic events. When those things happen, a little bit of your soul basically gets lost in the dark depths of within yourself. And it's not a problem necessarily, it's a protection mechanism to keep you safe. But sometimes more often than not, it's very hard to get that bit and piece of your soul back. So having a grounded sense of self is so important, super, super imperative. Now, one of the things I think is the most important thing in order to get to this strong sense of self is to really be okay with being alone. You don't have to like go into a cave for a long period of time and just like go away from people, but just be with yourself, not just during the happy times, but also during the sad times. Now, if you have depression issues, and you've had past situations of getting very, very dark within yourselves, just be bear that in mind. But this is for people who are wanting to push themselves to be uncomfortable in order to grow and become the bright, amazing lights that they are. Be okay with being uncomfortable. Like you have to. That's the only way that you'll be able to start grasping a little bit of the understanding of self, and be ready to come to terms with maybe some things that you don't want to think about yourself. This is basically the beginnings of shadow work. Shadow work happens within. It's coming to face to face interpersonal communication with the dark side of yourself. The dark side of yourself is the side of yourself that doesn't like, or that you don't like for other people to find out. In most cases, most case scenarios, that would be your moon sign, in some shapes or forms. The sun sign is basically your kind of like your primary, like that's what people see whenever you're doing things. For a good example, my sun sign, I'm an Aries. Your moon sign is your personality. That's basically what you keep hidden. Sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. For me, my moon sign is Scorpio. And the ascendant sign is the first thing that people kind of see when you are, when they first meet you. My ascendant is a Sagittarius. But the moon sign, that's the sign that you don't always necessarily want people to know. Like I this is something that took me a long time to work on, and thankfully, by the grace of the universe, grand consciousness, I've worked towards that. And so because I work towards it and I've done a lot of work myself, I know everybody has the capabilities to do it. I'll touch a little bit on my background. So I'm 28. When I was 21, I was really, really depressed. I just felt like I didn't have anything I didn't have anything good about myself. That I felt like I was ugly. I had just gotten out of like my third relationship, and they cheated on me again, and I had it like the previous times. I was stuck in this dark, evil cycle, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And so I tried killing myself. I took like 50 pills, and then I didn't end up dying. And in fact, I ended up going to the 5150 hold, and I was walking around, with all the other people, and I saw this lady, like she was like staring at this TV, and it was like staticky. She was talking to the TV, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then she turned around to me and like completely calm and like looked at me straight in the face, and she was like, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. You're too attractive and you have too much to give to the world. And then turned her head right back over to the TV and continued watching it. After that, I was like, okay, I guess I have something I need to do on this planet. And then after that, I dedicated myself to helping people. It took me some more time to figure things out, and a lot more mistakes, but a lot more self-growth. And from some of those things, I had to discover what it meant for me to have self-confidence. I had to learn basically how to like myself. And that was a hard thing. That was one of the hardest things, because for the longest time, I didn't even tolerate being around myself, which is why, like I said before, one of the first steps is definitely getting used to being okay with yourself. And I say this now because now I am my own best friend, and nobody can take that from me, and no one can take that from you either. You can be your own best friend. It takes some time, but once you do, you'll have a valuable partnership that will last probably more lifetimes than you can imagine. Your dark side is not a enemy for yourself. It is a part of who you are. It is just the same part of you. And it comes to a certain point in time, as you continue developing your skills and understanding who you are internally, then you'll not only gain self-confidence, but you'll also gain special abilities that you always thought were like, oh, that's bad, or like I shouldn't be able to do this or whatever. Maybe that's not correct, but as you continue doing it, you'll gain this confidence. You'll gain these special abilities that you can use with other people, and really gain talents and surprise yourself. You have no idea what you're capable of until you really start diving deep within yourself and accepting who you are. You don't have to integrate all the things that involve your shadow self. You know, if there's only just one or two things every once in a while that you can pick up, then that's all you need to do. You know, that's really really important, and it's one of the reasons why we're here on this planet, other than to rise the vibration of the world, but is also to understand ourselves better. And as you understand yourself better, who knows, you might end up being able to help somebody that's really in need, that is in the same place as you, or you might see somebody that has a little bit of yourself within. um, the spiritual awakening, spiritual ascension process is a process and journey within, and nobody else can do that journey but you. Yes, you can have allies and assistance with, when it comes down to, you know, having spirit guides and your ancestors, and even, you know, celestial deities that come down to help with you, or are not necessarily come down but are with you. But they're not going to do the work for you. Only you can do the work for yourself, and it may be hard, but little by little it's worth it. That's it for today's Rebirth Sunday. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good shit. If you'd like to book a session with me, please go ahead and check out the link down below for the Mystical Illuminations website, where you can sign up for an exclusive hour and 30-minute live coaching session. I only do those through the Mystical Illuminations Clear Site website. And you can check out all the other great content on this channel from other people like Hope Dealer and Star Ari. They're all amazing and wonderful teachers, and really amazing guides. I am very blessed to be a part of them, to be a part of the group with people like them. Kobe is another person. They're all really amazing. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and until next Sunday, may the flames of rebirth are within you, and all it takes is a little spark. Take care.